Hey, what's going on, guys? Coming at you with another video. Now, this is going to be a controversial one, I think. I've already had a really fun discussion with a lot of buddies I've had, or even when I was streaming the game where we were discussing this, and we were talking about the new Zelda. And by far, she's the coolest looking Zelda. Just look at that. Like, she's over on the side. Look at that. She is like one of the coolest, like, look direction changes that we've had with the Zelda, like, yet. Before I get into the nitty gritty of what I dislike about the new Zelda, I want to talk about like what was so cool about the old Zeldas. So I would say in a lot of the 2D Zeldas, Zelda was kind of like nothing. It was just a thing that was there, but it was not up until Ocarina of Time when we were like kind of introduced to a character that was very involved in the world of the Zelda universe, right? In the beginning of Ocarina of Time, she's a child that you approach, and she already has a plan. She already knows kind of essentially her duty going into this and what she needs to do to help save the kingdom, even though nobody else kind of understands her, right? And she's this young child, about 10 years old, if not a little bit younger, and she makes a plan with Link to help save Hyrule. So she creates the plan that you're following through and trying to get by. And when the world goes to chaos and the kingdom falls, she becomes a ninja badass that goes around helping Link and even doing other things behind the scenes during the 7 years where Link was missing. So she's been keeping the country, the kingdom of Hyrule, like under wraps. Like that was the Ocarina of Time. That was when, man, it was like, dude, Zelda is a freaking badass, and you get to play it in Super Smash Brothers. And you're like, this is so freaking cool, and it was awesome to like actually be introduced to that in Ocarina of Time. And I was like, man, this is so legit. Oh man, it was awesome seeing Sheik and playing along with that. Moving forward, we got Wind Waker going into the next one, and she was a pirate. She was such a cool pirate, and she had honor. So like, she wasn't like the previous Zelda where she kind of was like, I'm gonna do all that. She was kind of doing things for her own benefit, but she had a sense of honor. When Link's sister was taken, it was like, okay, well, it's partially like my fault. I'm gonna help honor that. And even that the way she was acting, sassy and stuff, she was like the most entertaining Zelda to be around. And the fact that Zelda was a pirate was a cool factor as well. Like, oh man, spoiler, didn't see that coming. So probably one of the coolest Zeldas, and also a very fun one to interact with. And that led into, Spirit Tracks, where Zelda, the future generations of Zelda, was a playable character that worked alongside Link, and that was very fun. And Twilight Princess, like, of course, you don't get to interact with her as much as you do in Wind Waker or Ocarina of Time, but, she's a bona fide baller. She has a blade, not only that, and she's one of the final bosses in the game. So it's like, man, these are just really cool iterations of Zelda. Even Skyward Sword, even though she might not have been as a physical prowess to previous Zeldas, like in Ocarina of Time or Twilight Princess and even Wind Waker, she was still like, she knew her duty, and she was also a very powerful being, right? There's that. So that's kind of the history of the Zeldas, and now we're going to talk about the new Zelda. So the first thing I want to talk about, and this is kind of something that I might have as a perspective just because I play the English version of the game. I've heard a little bit of her voice actor in other games, but the thing that really stood out for me was her voice acting. It was not good, and it didn't even make sense. The first thing is, she's British. And I know some people, like my sister, really enjoyed it, but it just didn't make sense to me. Nobody else spoke British. Her dad didn't speak in a British accent. It was just felt really out of place and not great. And it also came off kind of like a little bit like, after a while, it just kind of got annoying to me. It was just so weird. So here's like a snippet of it.
From here, we'll make our way to Goron City. Then, we'll need some adjustments on that divine beast so Daru can manage it as easily as possible. He's figured out how to get it to move. However, it's apparent that we still have much more to learn.
So yeah, that's her voice, and I know some people like it, and this is kind of more of a personal gripe for me. But I think my bigger issue is kind of the character of the new Zelda. So the character of the new Zelda kind of falls under a very heavy category of a tsundere kind of thing. She acts cold-hearted out to Link, even though she might not, she might even like him a little bit or care about him. And that's just such a boring character. She's like, I don't need an escort, you know, and here's a scene about that.
I thought I made it clear that I'm not in need of an escort. It seems I'm the only one with a mind of my own. I, the person in question, am fine, regardless of the king's orders. Return to the castle and tell that to my father, please.
And that scene is just like, what? She's just so mean to Link all the time. So at first you think she's a bona fide baller because she holds Ganon off by herself, in theory, from your memories. And then now she's complaining and whining about everything in her history. And it's just so annoying. And it's just so... she's not a likable person at all. I know some people are a fan of the Tsundere, but I'm not. I'm just like, man, I don't like you. Every other Zelda had a sense of like, this is my duty. Like, it was something greater. I know some people are like, I can relate with this Zelda, but I don't care about relating with Link or Zelda. I always enjoyed the concept of they were always on a greater field than me. They were always endeavoring or on an adventure or doing something that was even greater than themselves, and they were the only ones that were capable. That always made it enjoyable for me to play. Like, wow, like, look how capable and amazing these characters are. That was the thing about Ocarina of Time that was just amazing about that Zelda. It was just like, this Zelda like is amazing. Like, she's survived 7 years, something more than even the Link of that era could have done, you know. And it was just so cool to see that. And it was just frustrating how unlikable this Zelda was. It was just like, wow, she just all the time is just berating and hating on Link all the time, except like after when the kingdom is fallen, she's like, oh no, I care about you suddenly. And then this Tsundere kicks in, and then you get the ending where she's smiling at you like, let's go on an adventure. So that's my gripe with the new Zelda. Let me know if you liked previous Zeldas or if you didn't, and what you liked about the new Zelda or not. I totally like the look of the new Zelda. Fascinating. I think they did an amazing job with that. So thank you guys for watching the video. Until then, subscribe, like the video, and then follow me on social media and let me know if there's any other topics you want to talk about, and we'll talk about something I like tomorrow. Until then, thank you guys.